Yep,
how
no
this-
worries. I have just started recording for everyone who's joined the meeting. And then to take a roll for our attendance, if you can go into your chat and type here or present, that will put your name on the chat, which will be recorded as well.
Okay.
So public comment, I think, is the first.
Yeah. So how do you check that? I don't know how to do that.
So what we're doing is when we're in public comment, we're asking anybody on the actual call if they want to raise their hand. And if we see any hands raised, that anyone who has joined our meeting, they can then make a comment. And we'll keep that open for the first 10, 15 minutes. So right now it's 7:05. So somewhere around 7:15, 7:20, we'll make another call to see if anybody else is there.
Okay.
And this is also for people on the committee who want to mention something that's not on today's agenda.
Okay.
Or it's really for anybody who wants to mention something that's not on today's agenda.
Okay, so if anyone has any public comment, if you could raise your hand. Either the virtual one or the one attached to your body. All right, so seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Dawn Nagaro. I am one of the employee members on TAC, and I've been on TAC for several years now. I forget how many. I am the acting chairperson only for this meeting. And the reason for that is this is the first meeting of the year, despite it being the end of the school year. And so our last chairperson is no longer on the committee. So we have one meeting where we actually don't have a chairperson. So at the last meeting, they approved me being the chair for this one meeting. So I will be running the meeting with a lot of help. However, Bart and Robert are both going to be doing parts of this meeting. So what I would love to do is start off with introductions because there's a lot of new faces here. I'm an instructional coach in the curriculum and instruction department. It's a teacher on special assignment. I taught English at Hopkins for 12 years. And I've now been in the curriculum and instruction department for 7. And I work with teachers to just help with best practices in the classroom. I give a lot of professional development, and I act as a liaison between the curriculum and instruction department and the technology department. So that's a little bit of background on me. So why don't I go across my screen and I'll just call out the names. And when I call your name, if you could unmute and just tell us your name if you're a parent or employee member. If you're a parent member, maybe you could tell us what attendance area you are in. And then for the employees, you can tell us your position in the district. So let's start with Mary Lassica.
Good evening. My name's Mary Lassica. Currently, I'm the interim chief technology officer for the district. Lucas Bogle left the district in March, and so I've been filling in for him, but I'm also retiring June 30th. And so I'm proud to be at this meeting today, and I just want to say thank you to all of you.
Thank you, Mary. Bart's thing says TAC meet, but that's Bart, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi there. My name's Bart Payne. I'm the district web designer. I work in the public information department inside of the superintendent's office, and I've been visiting the TAC for a number of years, and now the last 3 years I've been a voting member, and I have a couple kids through the Washington attendance area. One has finished and one is a junior or just a rising senior as of today.
Thank you, Bart. And Sandhya?
Hi, I'm Sandhya Sharma. I'm an assistant principal at American High School. Prior to that, I used to teach AP Biology and Biology. I've taught at American High School. I've taught at Ardenwood Elementary. And it's my first year at TAC as a part of this committee, and I'm excited to be here. And congratulations, Mary, for rounding up this awesome career.
Thank you, Sandhya. It's nice to see you again. Trustee Prasad?
Well, I'm the board representative here. Appreciate all that you all do. Technology drives so much of our sort of learning and productivity for our kids and our staff. So this committee actually has a pivotal role in the operation of the district. So thanks again. Thanks, Mary, and congratulations and best wishes for your next phase of your life. And I suppose welcome, Jason.
Thank you. Jason?
Hello, my name is Jason Wally. Kind of in a unique position in that I could wear 4 hats. I am here as an employee representative that works at Horner. I teach the STREAM electives that they have there, but I also am the parent of an upcoming 4th grader in Fremont, a community member, and an alumni. So I have many different hats that relate me to this, and this will be my first year in TAC. And Mary, congratulations on your retirement. Please make sure you find us a good person on your way out. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Tammy?
Hi there, can everyone hear me?
Yes, thanks, Tammy.
Very good, thank you so much. So I apologize, my video is not really working right now. But I am the Csa Chapter President, so that is a seat that I'm taking on this board. I'm excited to be here. This is my first experience. I kind of sort of understand what happens here, so this will definitely be a learning process for me. I appreciate being in the room. I've been working with Fremont Unified in an official capacity for about 7 years. I'm a transition specialist in the SPED department. So I work with 11th and 12th grade students. I have 3 sites. I work at Kennedy, American, and Washington High School. But I have a student who graduated in 2017 who started from K through and another student who graduated 2019. And I have a freshman who's my child right now, my baby right now. So yeah,
Awesome.
I'm excited to be in the room and learn from a lot of you. I'm excited to get some work done. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Prasad?
Hello, everyone. This is my first year. I have 2 boys, rising 8th grade and rising junior. Both go to Hopkins and Mission. I'm excited to participate and contribute in whatever way I can. I have a technology background for 25 years now, almost, in the Valley.
Thank you so much. Henry?
Hi, my name is Henry Fung. I am the physics and computer science teacher at Irvington, but I also work a lot with the district tech people, and especially Mary Lassica. So really, we're going to miss Mary a lot, of course, but congratulations on your retirement.
Thanks, Henry. Robert?
My name is Robert Ho. My kids actually graduated from Mission some time ago, probably 5 years ago now. But I helped start this committee, so I enjoy it and I stick around. I learn a lot every month. And I'm an engineer. Thanks.
Thanks, Robert. Samira?
Hi, everyone. This is Samira Rao. I've been with the committee for almost a year now. Started last year. I'm a parent of 2 kids who go to Mission San Jose Elementary here, rising 6th grader and rising 2nd grader. And I work as the CTO at Greenlight Financial Technology, which is all about financial literacy for kids, debit card for kids, teaching financial education. So it's kind of interesting that that is gonna meshing as well. And I continue to look forward to everything I can contribute to here month over month.
Thank you so much. Arun?
Hi everyone. Finished 1 year in this committee. I'm a mission parent. My older one is a rising 10th grader, and I have twin boys who are rising 3rd graders. I do a committee at mission, and then I run a chess club in Rome. So if you want to talk chess, I'm always open. That's it. And yeah, technology.
Thank you. And Chris? Chris, I can't hear you. It doesn't look like you're muted, but I can't hear you. No. Yeah, still can't hear you. You might try leaving the meeting and coming back in. Sometimes that helps. Okay. Let's give him just a second to come back, if that's okay, everyone. I too had 2 daughters who went through Fremont Unified, who are now 29 and 27. Just thought I'd share, being we're waiting. Let's see. Henry, you had my daughter, didn't you? Well, you knew one of my daughters.
Tell me how old they are to makes me feel so old. So long ago.
Kelly's getting married in 12 days.
Well, what's your congratulations for me?
I will, and then my younger one's getting married in October, so it'll be fun. All right, Chris. Chris is back. Can we hear you now, Chris?
Let me try.
Yes. Perfect. Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Hi. Sorry about that. My name is Chris Dong. I live in the American High School area. I have 2 children. One is a rising junior. The other one is a rising 3rd grade in Brookville. And I think I have a lot to catch up from you guys before I can contribute too much. But I'm eager to learn. And I'm a retired IT executive from I worked for IT industry for about 23 years and across the Pacific. So I'm actually really eager to understand, because I have my 2 kids. It was a really huge effort to help them go through this pandemic area, from online to in person. So I know that technology really is critical to make kids, especially parents, as well as teachers, thrive. So I hope I can contribute more.
Thank you so much. Okay, so on to our next agenda item, which is, well, I guess I have a question, Bart or Robert. Most of the people here, many of the people here are new. So we would have a lot of people who wouldn't be able to approve the minutes, right? They need to have been at the last meeting to approve the minutes. How does that work as far as quorum?
We just take the majority vote of whoever. Yeah, it's one time we won't really have quorum.
Okay. So for the people who were here last time, did you have a chance to look at the minutes? I think there's 1, 2, 3. It's only about 4 people. So I read them. I can make a motion, right? Even though I'm chair. So I move to approve the May 9th minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Bart. Any discussion? Okay, so if you were at that meeting, if you could put
A for approve or approve or
yeah,
yes.
approve, yes, in the chat if you approve the minutes.
Does that include me, Dawn? Because I'm
No,
not.
you're not a voting member. So Robert, you were here, right?
No, I missed that meeting.
You did miss that meeting. Samira, were you there?
I'm not sure he's here.
I am here, but
Oh, sorry.
Unfortunately, I missed the previous one. So
Okay, that might be it then.
Okay.
Let's go
With
with
a whopping 3 votes, we approve the minutes from last time.
They did look good.
And they did look good.
We thank Ellie for his service.
Yes, indeed. Okay.
Before we jump any farther, let's have one more call for public comment. I know that we're not seeing anybody on the thing,
Yeah,
but
Okay.
I had a question, although maybe Mary can answer this later on. Get an update on the CTO search.
You're muted, Mary.
I will be doing that in my update, Robert.
Okay.
Thanks.
And it looks like Diane Jones, Trustee Jones, is now on the call. Diane, if you want to just say hi to the group. We just went through introductions. We have a lot of new people.
Sure. Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry I'm late. I'm going to keep my camera off because I'm multitasking today and I look terrible. So, but I'm glad to be here.
Well, I imagine you look fabulous, but welcome. Okay, so we do have 2 board members who join us for these meetings, which is fabulous. So okay, so the next thing on our agenda, I'm going to turn it over to Robert, who in his introduction explained that he has been on tax since his entire existence. So I'm going to let him go over the TAC orientation with the Brown Act information. So Robert, I'll turn it over to you. I'm going to mute myself.
Sure. So this committee was organized some time ago as a place where we can discuss things about technology. We have brought parents, community members, staff, teachers, everyone we can think of. And of course, it's also open to the public, which is part of the Brown Act. It's similar to how the school board is run, although we don't usually run as formally as they do. But the same, we want to keep our meetings open. We agendize things ahead of time, so we come up with an agenda for each meeting, and then we only discuss those items at the meeting. This way, someone can't say, "Oh, let's talk about this today," and then we have a vote, and no one knew it was happening. We don't want to do things kind of secretly. So we want to keep everything as open as possible. As part of that, there's a wrinkle that most of us don't realize until you actually get involved with this. We don't allow discussions outside the meeting in large groups. So the group has 17 people in it, and majority is then 9 people. So we don't allow 9 people out of the group to discuss something that's related to this committee. If you want it, you're welcome to talk to, a few people and get opinions or discuss things, as long as you don't get to 9, because once you have 9 people and you have a discussion outside this meeting, then you can come to an agreement, and now something's been decided outside of this meeting. So we'll get in trouble if we find out that this has been done. So we try. So in terms, and this also includes email messages. We do send out email, but it's generally informational only, not a discussion. So if you see an article you want to share with everybody, you can send it out saying, "Hey, let's talk about this at a future meeting." That's okay. You're providing information, but you haven't said, "Hey, I really like this," or "We should do this." You're just presenting information. I think that's most of it regarding the Brown Act. Yeah, and if we cross the line, we'll note it. Generally, it's not an issue.
Okay. Any questions for Robert? Jason.
Yeah, just a quick one. If we have a survey that we want to address to like general community and everybody else, it's going to be more than the 9 that you're talking about. But if it's open to everybody, how does that work? I'm just curious.
So the Brown Act comes when we vote on things. because then we're going to be approving something or recommending something, and we want those discussions to be public. So surveys aren't really part of that. Discussion on the survey, and especially a decision on the survey saying, hey, based on this survey, we want to recommend the board to do something, that has to be done publicly and not violating the Brown Act.
Thanks, Jason.
And just a side comment, it's really hard to get surveys out. We've been trying, but if you have energy and can help us push the survey out, that'd be great.
Thanks for clarifying.
Any other questions for Robert?
I was going to chime in just to, with a big project like maybe putting together a survey or sorting through a specific thing, sometimes we start subcommittees. And that's a way that a group of anybody under 9 total could talk about, promoting that or building that survey without incurring the multiple steps of a full committee meeting.
Right. I figured you'd cover that in the bylaws, but and we would establish a subcommittee officially within the meeting. So during a meeting, we'll ask, okay, does anyone want to join the subcommittee? And then we'll count the number of people. And at some point, we may have to say, okay, we're full, and those 7 or 8 people will go off and do something.
Okay, thank you. So I say let's just go ahead and we'll jump into the bylaws and meeting norms, because it kind of ties together with sort of the logistics of how this committee works. So I'm going to turn it over to Bart.
Thank you. Hopefully you guys see the additional Google Doc from the agenda titled Technology Advisory Committee Bylaws and Meeting Norms working document. So I think the top level one is if you do have a chance to read through the bylaws, they may be somewhat dry, as all bylaws should be dry, but they are what drives our committee. So they do talk about the Brown Act. They do talk about when we meet, what our membership totals are. And so it's just a good way to familiarize yourself with how we generally run our meetings and what our mission is, and those pieces there. So I think the bylaws mention Robert Rules of Order, and Robert, the other Robert, just brought up that we are not as formal as the actual board meeting, the board meeting of our trustees, but we do want to maintain a structure to our meetings so that we have clear, helpful meetings that come to conclusions, and we provide advisory opinions to the board that then they can act on. So Robert's Rules has sort of a way to raise your hand, to bring up a motion, to work in a meeting environment where you can kind of get a parliamentary, they call it, approach towards having a meeting around a committee. So you might take a look at there's a link to a PDF, and that's also in the bylaws that we kind of keep track of that approach. Moving down that document, we have run into timekeeping. So we want to try to keep everybody's time, honor it. And so one of the pieces that we're thinking about is maybe instilling a timekeeper from the chairman, who will be voted on later in this meeting, could assign a timekeeper for each meeting, and then that would help provide a framework to stay within our agenda items. So sometimes we get deep into parts of our discussion, and we just want to make sure we bring it back so that we do end on time, which is normally 8:30, I think, is our scheduled time ending. So with big items and big projects, sometimes we are digging in pretty deep into questions and answers and follow-ups with the CTO and that conversation. So I think if we want to do that, we might see what the chairman will start up at our next our second meeting, which will be in September. We had some discussions over this last year about how to get items on the agenda, and we just wanted to state a priority of that. So the board is, we're here to help the board and serve the board. So the board has the first level or priority of adding something to our agenda and getting us to discuss it and research it. And then the CTO works closely with the chairman to get items on the agenda. And then anybody from the committee should also try to talk to the folks that they represent, whether if it's the union bargaining team or the attendance area, parents reaching out, different schools. They bring that information back in, and we have at the end of every agenda, we have a future agenda item, which kind of opens it up to the discussion that everyone can chime in and, hey, let's try to get this on the next agenda. And we can help set our agenda with the chairman in the next meeting. And clicking along here, we have an idea that came up sort of at our last meeting, talking about meeting norms. And so we wanted to try to provide maybe a little discussion and a little bit more approach goals around having a meeting and making sure that we're having a positive and kind of effective meeting. And so I had done a little research on meeting norms, but this is a pretty fresh topic. It might be that we want to kind of read through this and continue it at our next meeting in September, or if anybody has looked at it, they wanted to chime in now. But I think the big piece is that we remind ourselves our top level goal, which is in our bylaws and on our webpage, is to advise the board and management of the state of technology within the district, review, help, develop, and ensure new technology recommendations are as specific as possible. So that adds to the layer of our discussions when we want specificity of these items. But I think it's a very helpful, and part of the setting up norms and setting up Robert's rules and looking at timing and things is we want to make sure we provide the board with a good and helpful advisory product of whatever that might be. So maybe we'll, oh yeah.
Bart, I can't recall where we are in terms of the meetings as far as in person or Zoom.
So we're still under the virtual permission, AB 361 as of now. So, but we do want to keep track of that if we do move back to in-person meetings. So right now, to be Brown compliant, there's a special kind of exception that we're working from, and that's why we're meeting virtually, or still meeting virtually in this case. So, but
so when we leave this meeting today, is the assumption that our next meeting on September 19th will be on Zoom or Google Meet?
I think it will still be virtual, and that can go up until Jan 2023, I think is what the current law is.
Okay, thank you.
Was there any other questions? I know I moved a little quickly through that, but hopefully this will get our kind of standards and piece together some of our next steps at our next meeting too.
So I'm wondering if it's worth taking some time then, if you're looking through those norms, if there's anything you would like to tweak or edit or add or even push back on and remove a little bit, like just as an example, like it does say with the virtual to turn on camera, mute while not talking. There are often reasons why people need to turn off their camera. So, like for me, it's, I would recommend turning on the camera. I just think the meetings feel better. but also recognize that there could be reasons why they need to be off. It could be a technical reason, like Tammy mentioned tonight. She doesn't have access to a video right now, or sometimes people are multitasking, and that's just how life has to be. So I think that's kind of the perfect example of encouraging, you know, the cameras being on, but also understand that life happens, kind of thing. So does anyone have anything that they're noticing on the norms that they might want to add to, or if you have any comments about the norms, you could share now, and then we could take any comments, and then we could plan to finalize those at the next meeting. Does that seem okay?
I guess, you know, I'm fine with most of them. I guess I'm wondering if, and maybe I'm just not always, I'm just wondering if we're raising these because we've had a lot of problems and people are not following these norms, or.
I think in general, it's just good practice to have meeting norms and reminders. It doesn't necessarily mean it wasn't happening. It's just sometimes nice to just get into that mindset when a meeting starts.
Okay.
Okay, so Henry.
Yeah, question in the facility committee. One thing we all had to do in the committee was that we all had to sign a paper saying that we don't work for any tech companies because we don't want to talk about something that will help a certain company over another's. Is there a reason why we don't need to do that here?
I'm going to leave that to Robert. Or Bart.
That's a good question. I think it's Form 700, and I haven't seen it this year. I'm on another committee. Maybe they do it in the fall, and I think previously maybe they do it after it lasts for a year, and it may just be that maybe we handed the paperwork in October, and so they'll come around in October and ask for it again. Yeah, I haven't seen it in the other committee either. I'm sure it'll come around at some point.
I don't think I remember a Form 700 for TAC though. Do you, Robert?
I've never heard of it, and
Yeah.
I've been on TAC at least 4 years.
Okay, maybe I only remember from the other one.
Yeah, I think, Henry, one of the pieces there is that if you feel like you have a conflict, then you should excuse yourself from those votes. So we want people that are in technology, and we want people that are in educational technology on top of that. So those pieces are fine. I think it's that if you find yourself in a conflict of interest, that you say, hey, I'm really not going to talk about this. This is, please consider me, abstaining or not voting on those pieces there. And that's probably part of our advisory piece. Yeah, we have a number of, experts, but we knew that we couldn't have everybody say yes to this because there may be somebody who's actually on that, request for a proposal or something like that.
Thank you, Bart. Okay, so any other comments about the norms or questions about any of the orientation information?
One other comment, and this is homework in some sense for everyone on the committee. Fortunately, because of the pandemic, because we're doing this via Zoom, our attendance has been really good. We haven't had a quorum issue, and I can't remember last time we had a quorum issue. But if we do go back to meeting in person, it has been quite common to have a meeting where not enough people show up. And then we can't conduct business if people don't show up. So if you cannot make a meeting, it would be really helpful if you let us know beforehand. So sometimes we'll, if enough people say we can't make it on Monday, then the chairperson will cancel that Monday meeting, and the rest of us don't. I mean, if I have to go to work, then I have to drive. It's a pain to get to Fremont by 7 o'clock. My commute time goes way up because I normally wait till traffic goes down. So quorum is really important. Also, and because quorum is really important, If you don't attend regular meetings, then we have procedures to remove you because it makes it harder for us to have meetings if people stop showing up. And we want, we'd like to remove you from the committee. We haven't actually done this, I don't think, but just for full disclosure.
Yeah, it really puts a halt to the committee being able to do what it's supposed to do when we don't have the numbers. So we certainly appreciate your volunteering to be on the committee, but the flip side of that is that we would need the commitment that goes along with that. Jason.
I'm local, so attending in person won't be a problem when that begins. And I understand what Bart was saying earlier about we have an exemption until January. But would it make sense to have an in-person as much as possible, but still have a virtual that could log into that in-person meeting so people could at least keep up, even if they're not voting? Just throwing that out there for question purpose.
I can jump in on the virtual meeting town. One of the issues there is that if we would still be meeting virtually, I guess is the way to describe that. And then we could have a group of people that meet virtually at the district office. But to have a true quorum, we have to have everyone virtual in that case. And it is a little tricky to have a room serving, 4 people serving one meat. It was early on in the pandemic, you would kind of see a wide room and you don't have a good interaction because you're not individually on the screen. So it could be something to explore. And I think that there is some in-person benefits, significant in-person benefits. But we have to be careful that if we have a specific place, then we actually have gone from virtual and we don't have permission to do a hybrid at this point. We have to either be there or virtual.
Thank you, Bart. Diane Jones.
Yeah, I was just, Bart, I think just said what I was going to say, that having a hybrid meeting is very, very challenging. So if we aren't allowed to continue with a virtual, it will almost certainly be fully in person, just because of the logistics of running a hybrid meeting.
I think it might even be covered by the Brown Act, which is why we have this, the law that Bart referenced. It's been specially passed to say that we are not violating the Brown Act by having a virtual meeting. I don't know the details, but I think the Brown Act is involved.
Thanks, Robert.
Sorry, it is, and it is posted on our site. If you look at extra meeting protocols on the TAC site, you can dig in if you're excited.
Okay, I think, did we lose Samira? My box has changed and I'm not sure what happened. So maybe he'll come back. Okay. Any other questions on those things? Okay.
Would it be reasonable? Sorry.
Yeah, please.
Maybe Robert as well. Would it be reasonable if people send me any notes on this that I add them to the document and then we talk about them in September? That's not a meeting, right? That's just comments.
Yeah, if you want to send one-way feedback,
that's fine. Okay, so I'm open to receiving any comments. If you work your way through this current document, please email me. I should be on the thread of the invite, and I'll send out a reminder after our meeting as well.
Thank you, Bart. Okay, so item 4 is the election of new officers. And for the committee, we have a chairperson, a vice chairperson, and a secretary, and it's a 1-year commitment. And historically, what we've done is for each of those positions, we alternate if they're a parent/community member or if they're an employee member. So for this year, the chair is supposed to be, it's the turn, I guess. It would be a parent or community member. For vice chair, it would be an employee member, and the secretary can be either. So I think we don't have too many parent community members who've been on tech very long, but I guess we have a couple of you. So I don't know if anyone who's been on TAC prior would be comfortable being the chair. So I'm gonna see if anyone wants to raise their hand for being the chair of the committee. I will say if no one is comfortable, we can flip to the employee side, and someone on the employee side can volunteer to do it as well. But I wanted to start with the parent side because it's that turn. And I'm a teacher, so I have good wait time. But I'm not seeing anyone.
Technically, it could be anybody who's any community member, right? It doesn't have to be. You could be new, but you would maybe want to have a supportive vice chair or something.
I'd like to volunteer, Robert.
Yeah, I was hoping Linda would show up since she's done this so many times. One issue that I have is the meeting norms mention Robert's rules, and I'm not very good at rules, so I'm not comfortable with Robert's rules. I should be, but
yeah, because your name's Robert.
yeah, you think that if I learned one thing in life, I would learn Robert's rules, but I've actually tried, and I have another committee where they follow Robert's rules, and my brain just can't wrap so I just wait till they tell me I can talk or not. I can't wrap my head around it.
Okay, does anyone on the call want to volunteer to be the chair? Or volunteer someone? Voluntold? I like the way that Arun tried to get Robert in there.
This is my first day only, so who are the other people has been on the tag for a while? Can you maybe point it out?
Right now, Arun and me.
I have been here just for a year. This is my first year. I would actually take this up, but I have too many other things. And when I mean other things, I mean just district level things that I'm involved in. So
we have had people take this up on their first day. We had actually a teacher from Irvington, I think, become the tech chair on the first day.
I think it's my first day, and I have no idea what it entails, so I don't hesitate to volunteer.
It's
just, I don't know what I'm signing up for. That's a challenge.
Basically, you meet with the CTO once a month, usually about an hour, and you can also and when I was chair in the beginning, I used to use that time to talk to the CTO. But you spend an hour with the CTO once a month to create the agenda, and then you run the meetings. I mean, in the meeting. So the extra time is the 1 hour a month, basically.
I'm willing to do it if no one is comfortable doing it. But I'm perfectly happy to not. But it would be great if someone would. I'll put it this way. I'll be the chair if I don't have to be the secretary.
Yeah, actually, the secretary's job is the hardest job.
So if no one wants to do the chair because you have no idea what you're volunteering for, I'm willing to do it. But then I think a parent community person, it would be good to be the vice chair, because then maybe you could run the meeting sometimes and then get comfortable to do it next year. So if I do chair, do I have a volunteer to do vice chair?
I can volunteer, yeah.
That's the spirit. Thank you.
Super.
And then the secretary, you basically take the meeting minutes. So you just take, so like you, even if you didn't vote on the minutes for this meeting, you could see what they look like by clicking on the meeting minutes in the agenda. The last couple of years, Ellie Wasser, who used to be the principal at Ardenwood, was our secretary, but he's now the director of assessment and accountability. So we lost Ellie. So if we could get a volunteer for,
I'll try to do it at my best ability.
All right, Bart. Awesome. So what do we need a motion for this now? We need someone to make, can I make the motion if I'm one of the people, or does someone else have to make it?
It should be each position.
Oh, you have to separate them?
I think we normally do, but it's up to you. You're the chair. You can decide.
Yeah, I thought you could make one motion. So we need a motion for Dawn Nagaro as chair, Prasant Paula as vice chair, and Bart Payne for secretary. If I have a motion.
Okay, I'll motion that we elect Dawn as chair and Prasant as vice chair and Bart as secretary.
Second. And we need a second. Okay, thank you. Jason Wally, second. Any further discussion? Okay, if you could put your vote in the chat. You can put yes or approve or no.
I do have one query here. If some of the parents are willing to step up next year, would you revert it or let them do it?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
What I mean is next year, if some of the parents here are willing to step up, since we have first year parents, will you switch the schedule around, or are you just going to keep the alternating?
So once you vote in for, this will be for a year, it's a year position. But then what we'll do then is we're doing a employee person for the chair this year, then the following year we'll flop it back.
Okay, that was what, yeah. So the next year would be a parent person.
Yep.
And that is technically not in the bylaws. It's just a traditional way to share the leadership of the committee. So, but it's good to mention that we'll next year have hopefully a parent community chair.
Okay, so we approved the election for the new officers. The next agenda item is the meeting dates for the entire year, and they are listed there on the agenda. It's typically the first Monday of the month, but in September we do the third Monday. And Bart, can you remind me why on that one?
I think it's Labor Day is what pushes it out, or maybe it's in the bylaws.
Labor Day.
Yeah.
Well, we put it in there because of Labor Day.
Okay.
It is in the bylaws.
But it went to the third Monday was what I was trying to remember.
Okay, it's in the bylaws.
Okay, it's in the bylaws, so there you go. And then there's another exception in January because of winter break and Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And then the last meeting of so I say the last meeting, it's very confusing because that last June meeting is technically the first meeting of the following year, but we usually just try to have it sort of a tentative hold on that. And then when we get close to that, usually in the May meeting, we confirm that date. So it would be very much appreciated if everyone could mark their calendars of these dates. And as we mentioned, in terms of quorum and being able to complete our business, if you could make every effort to try to make as many of the meetings as possible. And we totally understand that life will happen and not everyone's going to be able to make every meeting. But we just do the best we can. Okay, so I thank you for that. Any questions before I turn it over to Mary for the CTO update?
I think we want to vote on that. So
Oh, we have to vote
I
on
make
it.
a
Excuse me.
motion to accept the suggested meetings for 22-23.
Thank you.
Do you have a
Do
second?
I have a second?
All seconds, Robert.
Thank you.
Please approve or not in the chat. Thank you.
I just want to make sure that we don't have any August session, correct?
That's correct.
That's a complete list. The only other things that could possibly happen is if we were to create any subcommittees, they might schedule their own meetings, and that's totally open to any subcommittee that gets formed.
Got it.
Yeah, the
Okay.
first couple of years we had summer meetings, which is why the first meeting's in June. But we only did that for the first few years.
Okay. All right, so I'd like to turn it back over to our almost retiree, Mary Lassica.
Thank you. There's some openings right now in the technology department. The most important is the CTO position. It was posted on EdJoin. There were a series of interviews. One positive candidate that could have worked out, but she did not accept the position. And so they had to open it up again. And so that closes, I think, next week. And it's my hope that we can have something go to the board by the last meeting in June. But I have no control of that. That's an HR has to schedule all these, but the superintendent knows this is important. The interim associate superintendent of business services knows it's important. So they'll do everything they can to make that happen. As long as we have good, strong candidates, it'll be great. And then my position is open. First interviews for this position, it's an oral test interview. And there were at least 6 internal candidates, which is great. When you've got a lot of transitions going on, to have people applying for the jobs that have actually been part of the team for a while and understand what the job needs and know the district, that would be ideal. But we might have had some good external candidates also. I cannot be involved in that interview process at all because I'm leaving the district, and so they have other people handling that. And so again, I would hope that we would have someone go to the board for the second meeting in June on the 29th, I think. Then Russell Hipskind, he's one of the lead techs. He has accepted another job outside of the district. And so we're going to be short on that position also. So due to the workload this summer, and there's going to be a large workload, summer school programs are huge this year. We've got 5 campuses either finishing construction or someone moving into the campus, etc. So we've just got a lot going on. And of course, all the Chromebooks have to be gone through, labs need to be reimaged, etc. It's going to be a very busy summer. We have 2 substitutes right now, which is great. So they are working, for example, Michaela has been subbing for a couple of weeks, and she's been working on the Chromebooks that students can take home for the middle school math and English programs. They wanted every student to have a Chromebook so they didn't have to share with anybody, and they could get more work done, and then they can bring that to school also. So that was a larger project. We had another young man who was an intern last summer, and he just joined this week. And so he's all for getting Chromebooks ready for classrooms and imaging labs and learning a lot. And so we will have some help. My goal is to have someone interim if I have to leave before someone's appointed. And so the good news is my team is strong. When you look at the department, there are people that have that continuity. I know the managers within the tech department, we have meetings every Friday, and we talk about the big issues. So we all know what they are. We know what other departments are doing. We know where the pain points are, how we're going to go forward. We all have that information. And so even if I'm not around and there's no one in place, we can still get through this. And so I know HR is working very hard to fill both of those positions. And so I'm grateful to them, and we'll hope for the best right now. I said, I'm actually flying to San Juan, Puerto Rico, July 6th. And I said, I am available for Zoom. My husband and I are moving there. And so I will be available, and people will have my personal cell phone, my personal email. I can join Zoom, you know, so my knowledge will not be lost, especially now that we do so much remote anyway. You know, I'm available to help out anytime.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Any questions for Mary? Okay. So the final thing on the agenda today, we had a kind of a shorter agenda than usual because this was really kind of just kicking off this new committee group for this committee. So I guess it's, you know, I would love to hear from you all if you have come into this committee with ideas of things that you would hope the committee would be taking a look at or thinking about. So if there are things that you would like us to consider for potential future agenda items, I would welcome you to raise your hand and we can hear from you. I think Trustee Prasad has to go, so thank you for being here. And have a nice summer. I don't know. Do I wish other people who work all summer a nice summer? I always feel awkward about that, but you know what I mean.
No, again, thanks to the committee, and best wishes to Mary again. And see you after summer.
All right, thank you. Jason, you had a hand raised?
Yeah, and please correct me if this is premature. I know that we at our site had talked about things that we wanted to help out with, and one of them would be the idea of one-to-one, but knowing how expensive that is, has there been talk in the past about a bring your own device type of network so that more students can have devices and not have to worry about the carts on wheels and the management of that? So hopefully this is appropriate to ask, and it's a question that our site was interested in.
Okay. I know there's been different conversations surrounding that, and then there can be Wi-Fi issues of them needing to get on the school's network, and so there are a lot of things to be discussed around that topic, but it's certainly something we can put in our notes as a future agenda item. So that's great.
It was discussed very briefly. It was one of the agenda items that never really got on the agenda due to Lucas leaving and then the whole transition stuff. But I think it's a great topic. I think we should have that discussion. It is unofficially done. My kid says they do have Wi-Fi access, but I can see a lot of advantages, and I think the issues we can work through if there's a will, or if there are enough advantages to override the disadvantages. So I would second that agenda.
Okay, thank you. Any other thoughts, Henry?
Hi, yeah, so I know there's been topic that was discussed before is basically Chromebooks expiring. Like at our school, we work so hard to get enough Chromebooks, so every 2 students we can have at least 1 Chromebooks. And now all of a sudden half of our Chromebooks expiring. So now we've dropped back to like 4 students have to share 1 Chromebooks. So it's going to be an ongoing issue. I just want to see, especially with the trustees here, is there something that are working with the district, see if there will be enough funding, ongoing funding that will have enough so that these Chromebooks can be replaced, because they do expire every couple of years. So, but I know that's the topic discussed before. So I wonder if we can bring that topic up again.
Okay, so we'll put that on our list. Update or replace end of life Chromebooks.
And to add to that, I was going to see maybe we can get a statement from the district, like using expired Chromebooks, is that okay or not?
Yeah. So, and this has come up before, and I know that the intention of this part of the meeting is not to actually start discussing the topics, but I will throw out to you that they can be used. It's just that there are going to be certain programs that may not be able to be updated, kind of thing. But in terms of most of what a lot of kids are using the Chromebooks for, the end of life Chromebooks can continue to be used.
Okay, it's more the safety issue, but yeah, definitely it's just something we can discuss later.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should.
All right.
I think the answer is yes and no. So yeah.
Yeah. So we'll put that down on possible future agenda item. Any other things that are, Diane?
Yeah, I don't think this can be answered now, but it relates to the last question, is what do we need in terms of all of the standardized testing that students need to take? Because even if the Chromebooks can be used for certain things, we need computers for every student to be able to do the standardized testing. So I'm not sure how outdated Chromebooks work with that.
Yeah, and I know that there are answers to those questions, but we'll put that on the agenda and cover it at the next meeting. Those are all great points. Chris?
Probably you discussed this before. Just wonder, maybe we have done some parent surveys, community surveys, and maybe we have collected some of the pain points that parents care about. Maybe would you add something that somebody can share those so that we can actually discuss a little bit?
I think it's okay. Yeah, if we have data to share, like, we can put that down. I can say it's been a while that we've done a parent survey. I think most of the data that we have is more anecdotal in terms of parents emailing the technology department, or teachers letting us know things, or emailing Luke. You know what I mean? It's been more that route than saying, here's a survey we did last year and here's all the data. I can't remember the last time we did a parent survey. And that might be something we discuss next year as well, if there would be value in that, and what exactly we would want to be finding out. So we can put that as well, ways to get parent feedback.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we already have enough agenda items to keep us busy all year. No. I love it. Any other, and not saying something now doesn't mean you don't get to say it next time. This is just some thoughts, because when we do get a new CTO, I will meet with that person prior to the September meeting. And as we discuss, we'll start with anything we've heard from the school board. We'll also consider what the CTO thinks are really important items for us to tackle. And then, depending on the time frame and how much time we have in the meeting, then we try to add in these other things and prioritize them as we see what makes the most sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we've had more good ideas today than in a while, but I mean, it may take us a few meetings to get through all these items.
Yeah, it's great though.
Okay.
It's great that you're all coming with thinking of things that, and they're all really important things that have kind of been twirling around and swirling around, and we definitely did lose some time this year with unexpectedly losing our CTO, but hopefully we'll get that traction going again. So, unless I'm forgetting something, my friend Bart, am I forgetting anything?
Nope, that's looking good. I think our agenda is
All
finished.
right. So I am super excited to say that we are finished 20 minutes early. That is certainly something to celebrate. I just am so excited that you're all on board with this. I think we're going to have a great school year next year. And I just want to thank you for being here and for participating. And I'll close by wishing Mary a very happy retirement. So thank you for all your contributions to FUSD.
Thank
and
you.
We wish you all the best.
This last month is going to be a little bittersweet, but it's a good thing we're doing. So
All right.
I will miss each one of you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. And for those of you who are off this summer, have a great summer off. And for those of you who are working this summer, hopefully you get to have a nice summer as well and take some time off. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.